Fell asleep watching Sports Center. Woke up on some shit. Gotta appreciate the greats. Got them screaming encore. They just want more. The Black Mama. Got them screaming encore. They just want more.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Hi
Happy
guys.
New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy 2020.
Happy
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Sorry it's taken us so long. But work, life.
And January was just dry. Let's be real. January felt like it was 8 weeks.
We're still in January. It's still the
Exactly.
Yes,
we've still got 2 whole days left.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Well, we're getting through it.
Getting through it, man.
Yeah.
You know, so it's. I mean, we're just gonna get right to it.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna talk. This episode is dedicated to Kobe and Gigi Bryant, and the souls who lost their lives just this Sunday gone. It's a strange way to.
It's a strange way to set off the year
Yeah.
of our podcast, but I feel like it's a good way to talk about mortality.
Yeah, of course, and just being grateful for simple things
that concerns everyone.
Yeah, I think it's. Let me just start by saying this, right? So,
Okay.
we were just joking on the intro right now that January's been dry. And it
Yeah.
really has been dry. It's just, but that's normal, it's January, it's cold, you got the blues from Christmas, and you're just getting back into the swing of things, getting the flow, you've probably broken all your New Year resolutions, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, for those who care, emphasis on those who care, it was a Grammy weekend.
Yes.
So, it's nice vibes. You're vicariously living through the people out there. I'm seeing the Rock Nation brunch. All the rappers are looking fly. All the singers, personalities, whatever. It looks good. Parfy, or if you want to call him Diddy, Sean Combs, he got honoured. I think he got like some kind of icon award. It's like a pre-Grammy thing.
I stopped watching award shows.
No, I don't watch any of that. You just know because you see it on the gram and stuff like that. And I pay attention to some of the stuff around the music industry.
Yeah.
But I'm just setting the tone leading up to what we're going to get into. So, just chilling. It's a regular weekend. To be honest, I stopped caring about award shows once I realised that it's just a system. Yeah, it's all fixed. Just like even back in the day, like when you'd watch X Factor or one of those kind of shows,
Again,
and
fixed.
you start supporting someone, and then you realise, oh yeah, it's fixed. They want this, they want these twins who can't even sing to win just because they're going to sell some Nintendo DSs or something crazy, like. I say that to say, it was just a regular weekend, and then out of nowhere, like, I don't even know. This is like, what would you compare this to? An earthquake? Just came out of nowhere. Like, you just didn't expect it. A haymaker, a sucker punch. We heard the unfortunate news, the tragic news that Kobe Bryant, Lakers legend, father, husband, friend, motivator, author, Oscar winning for a short movie,
he's done a lot in his short
dad
life.
goals, Mamba, call him whatever you want to call him, number 24, number 8. I mean, he was so good they retired his jersey twice. Wow. I can tell you all about that, but it's just honouring a player that they're so good you retire the number, you never wear that number again.
Yeah.
And it's been a bit of a shocker, I don't really want to, on our way here, I was talking about how I found out the news. I got a call from one of my sisters because she knows, in the early 2000s. I mean, I started playing basketball in about 2000.
I remember you were into basketball. You went to the States for a while.
Yeah. I was going out there and stuff like that. 2001, just like any teenager back then, you have hoop dreams and whatnot. Everyone thinks they're going to be a superstar, But Kobe was a big part of my life in terms of growing up. Okay. Like, as it, now you have real life, like in terms of, kids, bills, career, and all that kind of stuff. But when you think about school, even in uni that you think you're busy, really and truly, my life was really basketball, school or whatever I was doing in that. If I was at school, I was at school, college, uni. But basketball, ran through that whole course of my life. And Kobe was the sign of excellence, competitor. But
what drew you to him so much? Because there were there were other players.
That's a very good point.
same level. I don't know.
Not
if
same level. No,
of skill.
It's a good question. It's actually a good question.
High up there.
That's a very good question. I mean, I think it's just like anything really. Like you just relate. I mean, when I say relate, you're just fascinated by how. Firstly, you're always drawn to the talent of the person.
Of course.
Like if you ask me, like, okay, football. Naturally, I support Arsenal, so naturally, my childhood hero was Ian Wright, and then growing up, it was Thierry Henry. Okay. Basketball, you know, my first real introduction to basketball was Michael Jordan, and then obviously back then, you know, Space Jam times and all of that. It was Michael Jordan, then Shaquille O'Neal and stuff like that. But coming into being a teenager, I had a few that I looked up to: Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson. But I just gravitated towards the type of player he was and how fearless he was and just how talented he was. And it was just one of those things. Like I was saying, people were posting up memes and stuff. Like if you grew up in the early 2000s, you were either Iverson guy. Especially, I'm speaking for guys in the UK. I'm not speaking US.
UK,
like football here, where we're regional to a certain degree. It's the same in the US. Like I can't tell you about, you know, Orlando Magic in 2001, but probably someone from Orlando would tell you like, oh, Tracy McGrady was the best, or this person or that person. But I'm not from there. But
you
from
don't have
here,
that allegiance.
Exactly. From here, we looked at the big stars like I said, Kobe, Iverson, Shaq, and that's another thing actually. No. Lakers had Kobe and Shaq, so how could you not root for them? You know, so it was that kind of thing. It was just.
I mean, how
nice
did you hear the news?
I got a call, really. I got a call from one of my sisters, like I said, and I guess she was so shocked. And I guess when she called, it was almost to kind of sympathise with me, like, I know you'd be really upset kind of thing. But I was in shock, and I said I got to go, because when she called me initially, I thought it was someone else. Like I just thought, like, because the way the call came, you know, when you could tell that something's up. Initially, I thought it was off the back of a joke, because me and my sisters were in a WhatsApp group, so I thought it was something relating to that. Yeah. So when she said that, and you know, there's those calls that come at certain times. It's Sunday. It's the time when everyone's really winding down, of time. You know what I mean? So when I got that call, I was just like, oh shoot, okay, let me just collect my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, when things like this happen, especially in this age of hyper-reality and in terms of the way the news works, you know, back in the day, we didn't have all of this. So when the news came, it was, I say factual, but because some things are, you know, made up. But for the most part, when you got your news, you thought it was the facts. You had no alternatives. It was credible,
it was credible.
Whereas now on a vlog,
you're skeptical when you hear certain things.
Anyone can put anything out.
Wait till a credible news outlet has released this.
So I didn't want to believe it. I was hoping it was going to be like a mistake, or you know, yes, the accident happened, but he didn't die. He's actually being airlifted to a hospital.
Yeah.
You know, I was waiting for some kind of positivity to come from it, but the more the hours or even minute, you know, those minutes actually feel like hours because you're waiting and you want to hear good news, but it's seeping in because you're getting messages. You even get messages from people that you regularly chat to. Yeah. Like I'm getting messages from people who know. If anyone that knows Frank was a Lakers fan, played basketball, loved Kobe. Like anyone knows back in the day, not like now where we have, you know, YouTube the way it is now. Back then, like watching, you know, NBA basketball was a luxury because you had to stay up late. Do you know what I mean?
Because you had to watch it live at a time.
You had to watch it. No, you still do that now, but it was very limited how you got your highlights and how you could view it. Not now where you can like watch everything on your phone. So the point I'm making is like when everything started coming in, it started settling in, and I was like, okay, something is wrong. Like I don't know what, but you don't report this kind of news if it's not true. It's just a really bad joke if it's not. Yeah. And you know, for me, like I said, I being a fan of Kobe and just growing up to see what he's done post basketball in his career, and one thing that I saw even before he ended his career, to be honest, is people are gravitating towards this now because if you're a casual fan, you wouldn't know that Kobe he's always been about his daughters. His daughters were always at the games and stuff like that. Obviously now they're teenagers. You know, I think Gigi was like 13, 14. The older daughter is 17. So now, you know, your relationship changes with them. So obviously, of course, now of course, with social media and stuff like that, as a parent, you start relating more. You start doing things. You're more open.
Yeah,
but back then, you would see the daughters and the mum at the game. So he's always been a family man. And in actual fact, one of his most recent interviews, he explained why he used helicopters.
Yeah, I think that's one thing. That really
it wasn't just to get to training.
Situation. Like every aspect of this, or every aspect of what happened was just so unfortunate. The reason he was in that helicopter, it wasn't like a frivolous reason. It wasn't something miscellaneous. Because I think I probably saw, I don't know if I saw the same interview you saw, the one where he said he literally gets helicopters because it's just quicker for them to get to games. And that's literally where they were going. They were going for Gigi's games, and he was saying how getting a car was taking up to 2-3 hours. And if you can get a helicopter, that's going to get you there in 15 minutes and cut out all that LA traffic. Look at this person, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, look at this.
You can understand why they were all in that helicopter. It wasn't for something frivolous or I just want to fly or live that jet set of life. And I just feel like, and he was with his daughter, doing something for his daughter, with his daughter, and it was, everything about this situation is just so unfortunate.
Yeah. It was only last year I heard, I think LA, New York, and a few cities introduced Uber helicopters. So to some, helicopters sound like a big deal.
Yeah, but
over there with that kind of traffic, if you've got the money, it's pretty standard. Do you know what I mean? And if you're of that kind of level, he wasn't doing it to like stunt, like I'm so rich, I'm using a helicopter. He was using it for convenience.
A lot of people.
If it was about stunting, he wouldn't have had all those people in there.
He wasn't stunting, or why did he have to get a helicopter? Like,
no, they don't understand. It's not your life. You don't understand it.
As a man that just does things, number one, for show, or for the sake of doing things. I'm sure there was a logical reason as to why he was in that helicopter.
Check this out. Think about it, yeah. And this is no disrespect. Like, may their souls rest in peace.
Absolutely.
These are regular people that live in his area.
Yeah.
A husband and a wife, right, with the daughter.
Yeah.
Then there was another lady, coach, right. It wasn't like, it's Kobe and his celebrity pals going out to party and da-da-da-da. And also, let me say this, even if that was the case, it doesn't make it, less impactful. But it obviously it hurts more because they were just doing a regular thing like me or you. That's like, in a few years' time, that's like, to be honest, it's the equivalent of me just taking my son for football training on a Sunday in a few years' time. And it really, obviously we're going to touch on mortality, but it really made me think about how we need to not take for granted the simple things. Like I was talking about, like
even just going to work and coming home.
Yes.
And in one piece. Some people leave the house and never come home. Like I hate to do it, go off topic a little bit, but you watch stuff like 24 Hours in what's that show? 24 Hours in A&E, where they 24 hours.
Regular stuff.
Regular A&E. People who've on their way to work got knocked over by and they never wake up again, or they get knocked over by a bike and they've lost their light. It's crazy.
On my way to work, I was literally at a traffic light. I wish I could explain. I wish you could see this, but just follow me how I explain it.
Okay.
I swear to you, there was like what do you call the guys that take the recycling with the big vehicle, the rubbish men, whatever.
Refuge
men. Yeah. You know how aggressive those vehicles look. And then there was a bus here. Okay. I kid you not. This guy. I'm fine in my car. This guy with his bicycle squeezed between. All it takes is that truck to roll.
See them cyclists, yeah?
Trust me, they think they are stuntmen. It's like, mate. And whose fault would it have been? But that's just like a regular. What's today? Today's Thursday. Yeah, a regular Thursday morning. That guy's he's doing his job.
Yeah.
Bus driver's doing his job. I'm on my way to work. I'm sure the cyclist's on his way to work. And it's like, sometimes just take your time.
Yeah.
It's not that serious.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the other day, someone since Sunday, by the way. Firstly, I try to have patience when I go to work because I realize that one thing I learned over time when you're driving, you're not just driving for yourself, you're driving for others.
Absolutely.
You know, that hazard perception thing is no joke. Like, you actually have to think for others. Some people do not care. This week, people would want to overtake, cut you at roundabouts. I said, please, go. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it does make you think, like, take your time, because especially the kind of person I am, I'm sure a lot of us out here, I'm automated. Monday to Friday, I'm very systematic. It's like, I go to
You have
work,
your
I go to
routine.
the gym, and it's routine, and it's to a science to the point that you don't even realize when your body almost clocks out, and you're naturally doing these things. And in the midst of doing those things, I don't like to question God or question, this kind of tragic situation. But it could have been that when he woke up and he saw the fog, said, you know what, let's go later, or let's tell them to hold off for an hour or 2 hours. But when you're in your routine and you've probably done something over and over and over again,
so
you're not
what's the
thinking
cause?
that deep.
Was that the cause of the crash?
Yeah.
So there was
visibility.
Visibility.
Oh yeah, the fog was nuts.
So
okay, so I don't have the facts, but I'm going to give you based on... No, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to give you based on everything I've read today.
Okay.
And bear in mind that I'm very selective in what I've read.
Where are you getting your information from?
It's a mixture. BBC,
Okay.
some vlogs, some stuff. But it's credible stuff,
Okay.
right? But the reason I'm saying I'm very selective is because there's so much stuff coming out about this. I mean, someone has already done... has recreated the events on YouTube.
How?
With Google Maps, and it's just like people are sick, man.
Yeah, people are sick.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like 4 or 5 days removed, and you're doing that for clicks and views. Don't get me wrong. I get when they ask. Like, I've seen some news outlets ask like professional people who deal with investigating crashes. And you know,
I'm sure that's not what that was.
No, that's what I'm saying. That I can understand,
Yeah.
but not that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I understand that they have to investigate so that they can understand how to improve safety.
Of course.
I also, those families need closure, and even local residents. But anyway, what I heard was when they set off, it was really foggy. Not heard, what I read.
Okay.
Helicopter circled for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Just like if you're on a plane sometimes and they say like, we're waiting for a plane to move, or we need fuel. Sometimes they circle around and they're waiting. They're waiting to get clearance. So my understanding is that the pilot of the helicopter, I didn't know this. This is something I learned over the course of this. You can have a license which is you're guided by the radar. Okay. So the radar, the signal. The signal. That's what guides you as you're flying.
Okay.
But there's like another license you can have which is you're guided by terrain. Right, so you can like look at trees and roads and stuff like that. The point I'm making, follow me. The point I'm making is that this guy was qualified to fly without radar. That's next. So it's kind of like flying blind, basically. You fly based on feeling. I've seen it in movies, like back in the day, because we take for granted we've got all these computers. Back in the day, some pilots literally flew by terrain. They knew the topography of somewhere, like, oh, I'm going over this rainforest, so I need to get 20,000 feet higher, this, that, the other. So he called in to I guess communicate about the visibility, and he actually asked for permission to fly without
like a control tower.
From something of that nature, right? And I guess at a certain point he got a bit of guidance and thought the visibility was okay. Don't forget the details are not 100% out yet. This is bits of information that's come out. So, forgive me if I get anything wrong, but this is what I've understood and read today. And I'm no aviation expert, so I'm not claiming to be, but I'm just giving context to what I understand happened. And this will lead to something I want to also talk about. My understanding is he got clear. I guess he got low. And he was supposed to go high. And I believe in the process of, changing altitude, he hit would you call a hill? Not a mountain.
I heard they hit a hill. And that's what happened.
Now, if that is the case, I am no expert here. I'm hoping it was instant and quick, and
no one suffered.
I haven't gone to watch. There's like proper, videos with like how many minutes
of the actual.
No, not the accident. Like estimation. Like, it might have taken 10 minutes for it to fall. It fell at this speed. I'm not doing all of that because that's just like, why would I want to go and upset myself, or why would I want to think about them suffering?
Why even put content
Do you know what I'm saying? No, but
family are going to be looking at this.
The thing is, I'll be honest with you. All aircraft accidents and stuff like that, they do all this stuff, but with this, of course, because it's Kobe, it's everywhere. This is standard stuff, Tommy. Like all those aircraft you hear about going missing and stuff like. No, they always have it. But let's be real. We get upset when we hear that a plane is. I mean, it was only 2-3 weeks ago that a plane got shot down in Iran. It was a Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Let's be real. How many of us really went and said, let's see how this got shot down?
Yeah.
But I guarantee if you go on the internet, you'll find all the information.
Yeah.
It's there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're absolutely
so, to cut a long story short, yeah, it was bad weather. It was, and everything I've listened to since then, all the people that were there for the Grammys and stuff, you know, everyone associates LA, nice sun, good weather, clear skies, and that. Everyone said it was unusually foggy that day. And I think, you know, before you think, oh, was the pilot careless? Was it Kobe being it? Because the thing about Kobe, he's a perfectionist and he's determined. Da, da, da. So even at certain points, like, was this Kobe like, no, we got to go to this game? Da, da, da. You know what I mean? Like, if you are a Kobe fan and you know Kobe, these are the things that would naturally go through your mind. Not accusing him, you're just thinking, was this you being over eager to get in the air? But I took some comfort in knowing that the pilot actually tried to get some clearance.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't like he just like, no,
just
we're all just jumping in his helicopter.
Like,
it wasn't that kind of thing. It was, we are aware this weather's bad. We're trying to watch the fog clear. We're in communication. I've got this license. I've done this X amount of times. I actually found out today that he's actually flown Kawhi Leonard, who's one of my favorite players, for a while. Kawhi, who's at LA Clippers, and he said the guy is a really good pilot. That anytime he would fly him, he would say Kobe said to say hi, and he would do vice versa. So this guy was like a well-known, achieved pilot. This wasn't just some, you know. So these are the things that you start questioning if it was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I don't like thinking like that.
I don't like thinking like that, but it's not. There's so many factors that were unfortunate that make you think, how could they have avoided this? This is, like I said earlier, this is not something that was miscellaneous or something that was just done for the sake of being done. It was something that they, like you said, it was their routine. It was a regular. It's like saying, it's like something happens to somebody on their way to work. Or why did you go to work?
Well, that's what I do on a Monday.
You know what I mean?
So, Monday, 8 o'clock, I'm on my way to work.
Exactly.
Like,
so
what do you mean?
Had I not had to do that, maybe, do you know what I mean? I just feel like I don't know if I'm a fatalistic person in the sense that things are laid out, you know, they're going to happen the way they were supposed to happen, or, you know, there's things you can do to avoid certain things. I feel like if something's going to happen, it's going to happen, regardless of how long it takes to happen or how you get about it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Sometimes it's just, you know, avoiding certain things. I agree with you. And this is where I wanted to talk about, like mortality and life, and how I know a lot of people say, you know, time is a social construct and all this malarkey, but our time on this earth is so limited. Like it's crazy, and this whole Kobe thing just made me realize, like, I know people die every day, don't get me wrong, but it's just, this guy was 41 years old. That's like 10 years for me.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
The thing.
And I'm just thinking, in the past 10 years of my life, like, do you know what I mean? It kind of just went like that.
Hear this. I'm going to be... Exactly. I was talking to my boy about this yesterday. I'm going to be 35 this year. Jeez. And trust me, I'm thinking about 10 years' time.
This is what I'm saying.
Do you know what I mean? So let's put it in context. 10 years' time, I'll be older than when Kobe passed away. Like, that's... I'm weird. Like you said, 10 years doesn't feel long away. Like, you literally think, okay, 10 years, this is what I'm going to do. This, and this by then. And, you know, and... this guy was no slouch. Kobe's the kind of guy, he probably had most likely had his next 20 years mapped out. Absolutely. And his daughters. Not in that way, but like, he was that kind of guy. Like, that was where he was going. I mean, this guy, if I'm correct, won an Oscar in under 2 years for making a short film, basically an ode to basketball. Okay. That's what it was. It wasn't anything complex, but it was the way it was told, the way it was written, you know, and I don't think he did that and he was like, oh, I want an Oscar. No. I think he did it for a reason. I believe it was shown on maybe like ESPN or something. Okay. And I reckon, because you know how that's how these things go, one artsy guy. Sometimes people do make these things literally for awards and it can be cheesy and they don't get the award they desire. And sometimes it's just naturally you do your art and then one artsy guy goes, yo, I think you should submit that. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that's what happened. I don't think Kobe made it was like, yeah, I'm getting an Oscar out the gate. Yeah. But you know,
yes, you do have to submit work to the Oscar committee.
Yeah. I've heard so many good stories about Kobe, and one thing they said is that I kind of knew this, but I didn't. What? Is he was so relentless at anything he pursued, beyond basketball. So people forget that when
Do
he
you feel
dated,
like he was trying to prove something?
No,
it's that I'm more than basketball.
No. I think that was just how he was. Because I was just about to say, people forget that
basketball's quite a disciplined game, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this is something he's been doing since like
since he was 3 years old.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But people forget that he used to date, well, to us as kids then, with Moesha. And
Brandy.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And at that time, he was trying to be a rapper as well as basketball.
Oh, okay.
And I was hearing stories about like how he would hang with Nas. I didn't know this at all, that he would hang with Nas. I knew he knew Nas and Jay-Z because obviously at this level, but I didn't know back then like he would like literally chill with them and like be trying to pick up things. So he would go to the best person. So like even with writing this book, apparently, I don't know if it's true, but he sought advice with people that like work with J.K. Rowling.
Okay.
Like that's the kind of person he was. Like he would go above and beyond. He wouldn't just like this chair you're sitting on right now. He'd probably want to know who the carpenter was, where the wood was sourced from. Like he was that type of guy. Okay. So knowing that, you can imagine how he planned his post-retirement life.
Yeah.
And one thing I liked about him, again, I knew this, but you know, when you start hearing things retrospectively, you're like, yeah, that's true. People always try to, because of that competitive edge.
Yeah.
And almost selfishness, dedication to basketball above everything. Some people try to just, going back to what you were saying about, was he trying to show that he's more than that? I think he was trying to show that to himself, but not to others, because he knows himself. I mean, he always got praised for being like, you know, trilingual, like he could speak Italian, Spanish, English, apparently knew a bit of German, that kind of thing. Because he grew up in Italy. He came to the States when he was 16.
Is he not from the States?
No, he is from the States, but I'm not sure about that.
I think in the States and then he found.
Yeah. I think he's from Philly. I think his dad might have played a bit of ball in Italy.
Oh, so
Italy's big in basketball.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Okay. So he wasn't your regular athlete. He was cultured. He was more than this superstar. And you know, it's hard when you hear these stories now of like, oh yeah, you know, he did this, he did that. I've heard stories about him, you know, going to hospitals to see kids, you know, with no press, nothing, like, you know, it's crazy. But going back to what you're saying about mortality, just one thing, it makes you think about, and it's not just Kobe, like, I've seen other, you know, and heard of other people passing away, especially when it's at untimely
sometimes
age.
It's the way they pass as well, that's really...
it just makes you think about what kind of impact you want to have. I'm not going to make this grand thing about the world, but on people around you, whether it's family, friends, that kind of thing.
When
how you want to be.
people hear impact, they feel like they have to do something grandiose. Whereas it's like, no, sometimes impact literally just means, how are your family going to remember you? How are your friends going to remember you? How are they going to talk about you when you're gone? Yeah. Or the people around you, or the people it might just be one person that you can just say, you know what, this person really touched my life in this kind of way. Like, but I feel like for a lot of people, there's that, I don't know if it's pressure to do something, like I said, something grand or something like, I must change the world. And it's like, sometimes you look inwards. Yeah. Almost. Yeah. And do things, you know, for the people around you, not so much for the world, if that makes sense.
And do things naturally.
Yes,
you know, if there's something you like doing, it's just like one of my, it's little simple things. Like one of my friends, basically, I was chatting with him, and he was like, "Oh, have you got any clothes that you're not using anymore?" Okay. And I was like, "Yeah, but I haven't really gone through my wardrobe recently." And he was like, "Oh yeah, because there's this like family that I usually just give clothes that I know need clothes." See? And it's like, normally in your head you just think, oh yeah, I'll just put stuff in a black bean bag and drop it at Oxfam or Red Cross. But he's actually directly given to the person. And then I've got friends who I know who Christmas they've been doing it for years. Yeah. Go and feed the homeless. Yeah. You know, so, and they don't do it for likes. They're not posting it on Instagram or doing a live story.
Like if your friend, the fact that you don't even know that he gives clothes to his family,
do you know what I'm saying?
You
like,
just happen to
do you know what I mean? So you can do things. You know, you can impact in different ways. So like you say, it doesn't have to be this massive thing. And, you know, I've done certain things in the past. Yeah. And I've got plans in the future. Yeah. You know, about things that I would like to do. But it does make you think like, okay, you know, life is much more simple than you think it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's much more simple than you think it is. Like,
complicate everything.
Like, you just be like, I really could do this thing, or really could dedicate my time to this or that, and just opens your mind up. But yeah, it's a big shame. It's
more than a shame. It's I don't know. Like when I initially heard the news, like again, like you, shock, disbelief. Trying to figure out if it was actually true. And I think another thing that really impacted me was that obviously his daughter was on that flight.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I can't even begin to imagine what was going through his mind or going through. I mean, I take solace in knowing that she was not alone.
Yeah.
Her dad was with her.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he protected her to the very end.
To the very end, yeah.
So, and I wanted to ask you something actually.
Yeah.
Just referring back to Kobe himself as a man. Yeah. Obviously, you've almost put him on this pedestal because he's somebody you ultimately idolized. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't like the word idolize, but I know what you mean. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to phrase it. Yeah. But
I revered him. Like, respect him. I just thought
absolutely. Yeah. Recently, I was perusing social media as you do after the whole aftermath. Yeah. And there was a journalist who started bringing up not so pleasant things about Kobe, about his 2005
something like that,
alleged sexual assault charges, and she started bringing stuff up like that, like why are people praising this man, blah blah blah. This is basically the point from the article, from what I read from the article. She was almost trying to say, this is who this man is. Literally, his sexual assault case that I'm sure he wasn't convicted. Or
no, he wasn't convicted.
There you go. So this basically she was saying this is who this man is. And how dare you, praise him even in his death, blah blah blah. I just thought, what's your take on that? Do you feel she's a journalist ultimately?
Yeah, but struggling journalist, but keep going.
The platform in which it was on Twitter, she tweeted it. This wasn't like an official article or anything like that. This was just something she just jumped on social media and said. Spoke her mind. A lot of people were defending her, saying, "Well, she's a journalist. She has journalistic."
That's what people hide behind journalists.
Exactly.
Yeah. I have a master's in journalism.
Integrity. She has a right to. I was like, I get that, but that was not the platform, and that was not. No,
she tried to cash in on the moment.
Absolutely. So
why have we not heard of her all this time? I don't even know her name.
I can't remember her name for the top of my head, but
I'm actually happy you asked me. I wouldn't have really touched on it because. It's not something.
I'm not trying to throw.
No, not at all. But I'm happy you did ask me, especially as someone who's probably more knowledgeable about Kobe.
Okay, yeah.
This is what I'll say. Firstly, with sexual assault, don't play around. With allegations, whether they are true or false, and it's a very tricky minefield. Especially when you add status to the accused person. It's a very tricky minefield. I was not there, so I cannot speak. I cannot defend Kobe Bryant. I'm not a forensic analyst. I'm lost my... And I didn't do nothing. I'm not his lawyer. But what I will say is this. He was... acquitted of the charges. I think he settled. There was a civil lawsuit after.
Oh, there was a settlement.
I think there was a settlement. Okay. But I want people to understand that a settlement doesn't mean an admission of guilt.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people have civil suits, and in actual fact, I listened to something. I'm paraphrasing here, where he actually said, he admittedly said. I don't think this person who I had this situation with is doing this for money. And if she felt that I did something to make her feel that that's what I did, I hope I'm making sense what I'm saying. He basically apologized.
Okay.
But he didn't say, look.
Apologize for what though?
He's saying if what he did to her, she took as sexual assault, he's sorry. He apologized. Yeah.
Okay.
This is a whole nother conversation, but I'll just touch on this lightly.
Okay.
And it's become very common now with the Me Too era and cases, you know, whether it's Harvey Weinstein and all these.
I think that's what the journalist was trying to do. She was trying to
tie it in. But she's crazy. She's mad. She should go do one. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's crazy to think we're in 2020, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you now that what was considered normal in 2010 cannot run in 2020.
Absolutely.
And what was considered normal in 2000 cannot run, and before that. Like, I don't even want to get graphical about what I heard guys were doing and what I've read. I'm talking about in the worlds we live in and in outside. And there are things that maybe back then were normal. Like maybe you're a celebrity. I'm hypothesizing here. Girl comes into your room or situation. She's acting like she don't want to, you know, go on and do things with you, and then you're kind of like trying to pressure her. No is no, but sometimes guys in a twisted way think, oh, the no means if I get closer, eventually become a yes. And no, mate. If she says no,
it's no.
Like shit. Like let it go, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's not for you, you know. So it's a very sensitive topic. But I feel like this is how I see it. I feel like if there was more to it, I think more would have come from it. This happened in 2003, 2005. Yeah. So we're talking a good 15 years ago.
Yeah.
He's won 2 championships since then. Yeah. He's had a couple of kids since then. I think if there was more meat on the bones, more would have come from this.
Yeah.
I will say, because I'm not going to act like I'm not aware of these things. I will say, I want to say 2 years ago when he was before he even won the Oscar, when he was nominated, some people protested and were like, "How dare you?" Like the Oscars consider someone who's had this.
Excuse me, Harvey Weinstein. Woody Allen.
Roman Polanski.
Are you kidding me?
Trust me, and these guys really did these things that we know. You know what I'm saying?
Roman Polanski left the country.
He left the country,
not to be convicted for raping a 13-year-old.
Yeah, I know.
And this guy still gets Oscars like every other year.
Yeah,
still getting his accolades. I don't get it.
White people.
Anyway,
let's be moving. So, you know, it might sound like I've danced around the topic, but when it comes to these kind of things, I can't make a judgment. But what I will say is, if the person is not convicted and you don't find a pattern, I think you should leave it alone. And that journalist is literally doing that for themselves, because go on.
I think. This the point I'm about to make will maybe you'll understand why she did it more. So apparently she is a victim of sexual assault.
Nah, I'm not rolling.
Oh wow.
No, I'm not rolling. No.
Hear me out. I feel like sometimes these things are their triggers. Thank God I've
That's
been
true.
a victim.
That is true.
So
that's fair.
I don't know, but for someone like her, it might have been a
that
trigger
is
for
fair.
her.
But
the fact that this guy was being.
I questioned the timing.
Okay.
I questioned the timing. You know, a week later, 2 weeks later, you know, put something together, cool. But literally, the minute he,
the fact that she jumped on Twitter.
We don't even know if do you know? To my knowledge, the coroner, the investigation. I don't know if you knew this, and I don't want to get graphical, and I'm not 100% factual to a certain degree. I know that after the report, they hadn't recovered all the bodies. You know that. Before they oh wow. Yeah, because apparently the terrain where it happened was so, the area is so rough. Yeah, because and obviously because of the explosion, you know, you have to retrieve everything. And no, I don't even want to say it, but you don't want to find a body part like 6 months later. That's violating. Do you know what I'm saying? So the bodies were not even in the fucking, excuse me, I'm just pissed, but they weren't even the damn morgue. And you're putting that out. Nah, I'm not rolling. I'm sorry, I'm not rolling.
No, what I was just about
to say to you is, if it came directly from that person, I might have a little bit of sensitivity towards it. The person who accused him. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But I just think there's a timing for everything, the way you do things.
So you think the timing was wrong? You don't think what she did was wrong?
No, I think what she did was wrong, period. But timing as well just makes it worse. But when I look at... it's a weird segue, but let's go into someone like R. Kelly, and I'll tell you why. Okay. R. Kelly was someone revered. Yeah, let's keep it real.
Still is.
Yeah, to a certain degree. Yeah. Do you know there was about, I want to say 5 years ago, I'll send you the YouTube clip where R. Kelly did like a melody that hits on BET.
Okay.
And just remind you how great a singer he was.
Okay.
As of then, I still believe that, okay, he had misstepped, but I didn't know it was to this degree.
What do you mean he had misstepped?
Like, I you know the whole, like, being with Aaliyah, stuff like that. I knew, I had this thing like, okay, he'd done some stuff, like dodgy stuff, yeah. But I didn't think it was a pattern.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So the point I'm trying to make is that here's Kobe, here's R. Kelly. Initially, me and probably millions of people, yeah, thought, no, R. Kelly did some weird shit with a girl that maybe she was 13, but she looked like she was 18. And you try to rationalize in your head. But at a certain point, you see pattern, you're like, no. I cancel. I don't listen to none of his stuff. I don't check for anything. It's hard as well because he's actually... Forget his music he made. He's featured on a lot of hits as well, like other people's songs. So you might like that artist, but it's got R. Kelly on it. The point I'm making is that this was one incident where Kobe was wrong. It could have been an ego thing, yeah? It could have been like an ego, like, I'm Kobe Bryant, and he learned and he apologized. 15 years ago, let's even say, worst case situation, let's even say, and when we say sexual assault, let's put context on this, yeah? Okay. And I'll probably go, I really don't want to read a negative case like this right now, but sometimes I do like to research the facts.
Yeah.
My sketchy memory tells me 15 years ago, this was like either a one-off situation or someone that he was kind of messing around with that worked in this, like, I want to say spa therapy kind of thing, whatever. Okay. Like, it was someone he kind of knew in passing.
Okay.
It wasn't a continuous, like, I've got this girl locked in the basement or I'm bringing her up to my hotel. You know what I'm saying? Like, every week I'm doing this particular thing to.
Absolutely.
And I just think that if that was who he was, there would have been a pattern.
Absolutely.
And he could have honestly made a stupid mistake, learned from his mistake, apologized for it, okay? And... bettered his life, absolutely. And moved on, and that's what I think is. That's what I think has happened. Yeah. So you can't take, and I tread with caution when I say this.
But what I don't
you can't take one negative thing from someone and define their whole life.
That's what I feel like she did.
Yeah, if he did one, how do I say without some crazy? Like if he like fully like raped someone like crazy, like just done some stupidness. Yeah, that one thing defines you. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you go and work in every church in the world. That thing you did to that person. But to my understanding, this was a sexual assault case, okay, that he was acquitted of. I still remember because he was on the verge of getting a new Nike deal at the time. Okay. And LeBron was coming up and Nike kind of held off. And I remember when LeBron came in the league, Nike started kind of... It was almost like... You know what it was? It was almost like... I remember when it happened, it was like... Nike were with him, but they weren't. It was kind of like, we're standing with him, but if this shit goes south, we got LeBron and peace out.
But that's like
any... So they waited for the case. When everything ironed out, I think they gave it a little bit of time. I think they may have made a statement at the time. And then, like, things gradually came back. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy for him. It wasn't smooth sailing.
Of course.
Everyone's forgetting. He had to make up with Vanessa, because at the end of the day, put the allegations aside, you're cheating. You know what I'm saying?
And it's public.
So, public. So he had to make up with her. He had to get her forgiveness back. You know what I'm saying? So he had to deal with that. But then he had to regain the love from the media. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Kobe by then was already a cult hero. So he had his ride or dies who were like, nah, this chick is just da-da-da. So he was good on that side.
Okay.
But he almost had to reinvent himself. And I feel like he was always a wise, sharp guy, but I feel like it kicked in a different way. Like the Kobe that, like you like, I think that Kobe emerged after this. Does that make sense? Yeah. I think he realized, yo, what am I doing? Like, I could just really shit on my talent and my life. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I feel from then, he became more of a leader in the locker room. You know, Kobe before was like arrogant, fly guy, like, I'm better than all of you, what you saying, kind of thing. And he was still that, but he was more like, okay, come on my side.
Life has a way of humbling,
you know what I'm saying?
And that's probably his humbling moment.
Yeah, and then God bless him with 4 daughters. Like, you can't make that up. So when you add all those factors, the daughters, the maturity, all that kind of stuff, he turned a new leaf, like,
complete 180,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I ain't really got time for that journalist. And my thing is that, yeah, I can't, for me, I'm still shocked at what happened to him. I don't even like to read articles about what happened on the day, let alone am I going to go back to go and find an article because one journalist wants to make, do you know what I'm saying? And going back to what you're saying, I don't want to sound insensitive, but if she went through that, I understand it, that's your pain, but I'm sure
project that onto somebody else.
Yeah, did she write an article when one Epstein died? Did she write an article? Where's that article then?
Good point.
No, where's the article? Where's the damn article?
When I see
man had 12-year-old girls. Man had 12-year-old girls. Yeah. This Prince Andrew, whatever his name is, here waffling. Did she write her article? Yeah. And what do these two men have in common? They're white. But when the black man,
oh Lord,
when the black man died, yeah, you want to tarnish his legacy? Go.
Oh, you think that's what her aim was?
Go and relax. She got to go. She got to relax. Yeah. No, for real. I just gave you two examples. Two big examples. One Epstein.
Very good point.
And bear in mind, I might be wrong. There might be articles, but no one checked for them because it was them.
But when Epstein died,
I ain't got the
allegedly,
facts. Yeah. That was a scandal too. Literally, that was an ABC production. He hung himself.
And
clearly his man's neck was broken.
Okay, like you just can't even make this shit up. It's just crazy. But anyway, when, like I said, when Epstein died allegedly, there wasn't this much of a visceral reaction.
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody cared because it was almost like, well.
Let me tell you something about Harvey Weinstein. I don't know if you know this. Do you know? Yeah.
Oh Lord, what are you about to tell me?
That's how you know that these Oyibo people's levels of insurance
is different. It's absolutely different.
His company has an insurance company.
Okay.
Let me rephrase it. His company, Weinstein Production, Company, is insured for all these cases. So let's say you alleged a case and you wanted $3 million. It's not even come from his pocket. His insurance is covering it.
You're joking.
I'm like, yo, this is different.
Who gets insurance
Trust
for
me.
sexual assault charges?
This is different level. No, I don't know what it's called, but most big companies have insurance for employee. Let's say, for example, let's say, God forbid, you were at work now and your manager was chatting shit to you and you were stressed out and you slipped and, sprained your ankle and you can't work for 6 weeks. There's an insurance for that. I don't know what it's called. It's not the accident, but there's a type of insurance that covers
workers' comp.
It basically covers disputes. It's not like the insurance category says we deal with sexual assault.
Okay,
it's
like what you mean. It just covers.
There'll be some kind of clause in there where it's like if an employer does something to an employee, so it'll be within there. But either or, it's still a good question what you're asking. Me, I never heard of that before. Do you know what I mean? I thought, and these times my man is rich. It's not as if it's not my man, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, he's rich, so it's not like he doesn't have money. But the fact that an insurance, that's a kick in the teeth. It's like, pay him.
He's not going to do time.
The point I'm making here, he's quietly just silencing people. Yeah. And this sounds disgusting and crazy, Let's say the average salary of all these people that, apart from the, you've got a few that were movie stars, right? But let's say the average, like a production assistant, was $40,000, $60,000, $70,000.
Okay.
This happened to you 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Then they don't offer you £3 million, dollars. Who wouldn't take it?
Of course.
Because you're not going to get justice. It is what it is. He is who he is.
He's not going to jail.
He's a sick man.
It's just not going to happen.
So it's like, okay, bear in mind, court is fucking expensive. Yeah. Just to submit something to court, sometimes you got to pay £200. I don't know what it's like in America. It could be like $500. So when you calculate that to pursue him and get your case heard in court, you might have to spend $1,000. These times they're offering you $3 million to just chill out. Set up your life. Yeah. You take your $3 million.
And bounce.
Me, I'll take the $3 million. I'll use $300,000 to go for guidance and counselling, innit?
Can't stand you.
No, but I'm just being honest. Like that is the reality, and it's a big shame because that's the disgusting world we live in, where these guys who have this kind of money, this kind of power, and the connections.
How did we even get talking about Harvey?
Yeah, weird. Oh, well, you were asking about the whole thing, and then I was saying, like, where's her energy for these kind? That's what I'm trying to say, like. And when I have the time, because I won't make the time now, I'll go and look at what other articles she's written. Okay. And I'll tweet her.
Yeah,
and say, hey,
when we get out here,
where's your article?
Name, I'll show you
no,
the
for
article.
real. I'll be like, no, I saw a picture of her, like, but you know when you're just like, hold on. People are still trying to process this. The family's trying to process, and you want your article to go viral.
Really,
I just, honestly, you know, let me tell you where I'm at with the whole Kobe thing. Let me be very real with you, on my Instagram and on my YouTube right now, I've bookmarked every positive thing about Kobe because I don't want to watch it within the hype because I just don't want to.
Upsetting.
I just want to live through it like a normal person. Yeah. I don't want to force feed myself with Kobe did. I know Kobe did this thing because I studied him and I watched him daily. Like, you can ask my boys on our WhatsApp group. Immediately, there was an interview he did with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, NBA players. It was his last kind of interview. And there were players and peers that he played with. Yeah. I'll show you some of the stuff. I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff like him training their kids, giving them trainers, like regular stuff, but the way he did it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I've seen all of that. Why do I need to see all these tribute videos to make myself upset? Like, one of my boys said, look, we should be celebrating his life. Yeah. And of course I want to celebrate his life, but I don't want to just sit there in misery looking at all this stuff. So the point I'm making is in the same way I want to like reminisce on all the positive stuff he's done. Yeah. If there's any negative stuff, I'm not an idiot. Of course I'll read it and I'll but I'm not just going to sit there and act like when he was alive, I was looking for negative articles to read about him. Yeah. I remember when this happened. It happened. The guy has 4 daughters. He had he had a basketball, a girls' basketball team. Yeah, he was very big. He was a strong advocate for WNBA. Like, that ain't fake. He could be doing 1,000,001 other things. The guy literally died taking his daughter and her 2 friends, teammates, who are girls, 14-year-old girls, to play basketball. And that man's a predator. Cut it out, man. Don't get me wrong, I know these kind of people can hide in plain sight. Of course. But I doubt that's the case. And if I'm wrong, I will stand corrected. But, come on. Like,
so you know she's a dud. She's...
yeah. She's a cockroach, mate.
One more... Goodness. One more thing I wanted to speak on was how we handle death. Like, I understand you obviously didn't know this person personally. Yeah. But how are you handling it? Like, how are you going to move forward from this? Because this is not someone you knew personally, but...
You know, it's a very good question you ask. I think in the last 2 years, obviously last year, Nipsey Hussle passed away. Literally, I remember, if I'm correct, April the 1st.
Oh, was it April? Yeah.
Literally April the 1st, he passed away. It was a Sunday. Obviously Kobe. Then in my personal life, one of my boys, he passed away in DC, I want to say, maybe 2009, 2010. And then one of my other friends who actually used to look after me when I was in Nigeria, like, you know, that looked
like
after
you. Like older brother.
He passed away. I want to say around 2014, 15, kind of. Do you know what they all have in common for me? They all died tragic deaths. Yeah. My friend was stabbed to death in DC. Yeah. My friend in Nigeria was shot to death. And then obviously these tragedies. So I'm in a weird space where I haven't really myself personally lost someone to natural circumstances. Yeah. And I was having this chat with you in the car where I think maybe that's why I'm very sensitive to tragic things, because anyone that I associate with death in my life has died under tragic circumstances. Yeah. I don't think I'll deal very well with it. Mm-hmm. But I think that I'm at a stage in my life where I know my life is bigger than me. Yeah. You know, having a child. Mm-hmm. So my answer would be I'll have to just move on with life, say my prayers and hold whoever that is in positive thoughts. But I noticed that, like, it's weird. I shut down.
Okay.
Like, as in, like, I don't really want to. I don't. It's not shut down, but it's almost like I try to shut it away.
Shut it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like to, like, at that moment. I'm hysterical when I first hear it. Like when my friend died, the one that got stabbed in America in DC. When he died, I got the call in the morning. I was in bed. I just cried in bed, and I was just messed up for a couple of days, and I was just. It's going to sound corny or maybe cheesy to some people, but I'm very music driven, so I just end up listening to a lot of music when these kind of things happen, and I usually listen to music that I identify with that person, or music that is uplifting, soulful but uplifting. It could be rap, it could be R&B, you know.
Anything
I remember doing that when he passed away, and then my friend who got killed in Nigeria, who got shot a couple times, with him, that one was different because his nephews were close friends of mine. We're kind of the same age, so we all kind of dealing with it together. And that was a big shocker. That one, I collapsed when I heard. That one, literally, I didn't know. You know when you see these things on TV and you think, oh, they've been dramatic, or you don't. I literally collapsed, like, you know, when you just, like, I was also on the regular road, like, coming from gym, it was freezing cold, I just collapsed on the floor. People were like, you okay? And I was like, I'm fine. I was proper crying, like, I was just chilling, like, I was just like, because you know what I mean? And it's just like someone that you know, that you take for granted that you're going to see at some point, you're going to see, because I'm in UK, in Nigeria, I'm like, soon we're going to link up, and what's crazy is, like, these two people were doing their thing. These guys are not slouches, these are not some guys who are just passive, these are guys with ambitions, with, you know. The other guy was just really grinding. Then the one who died in Nigeria, like, he had a kid on the way. He already had a kid. You know what I'm saying? He was getting money. He was doing his thing. So, like, I'm not saying that makes you less or more, but when you start thinking about this thing, you're like, rah, like, you could really have everything going like this, and just like that, bang, done, end of, game over. Your legacy. What's your legacy? What's your, you know? So it's crazy. I never thought about this until you asked me. But everyone that don't get me wrong, I've had old aunties, uncles pass away, but it's not the same. It's not the same because you're not, you know what I mean? These people are like 20, 30 years older than you, so you hear your mum tell, oh, you know, your uncle passed away. You're sad because your parents are sad, but you didn't live with them. The people that died, these are people that I had dinners with, drank with, got in cars, you know, listened to my first Nas album, Tupac album. You know what I mean? These are people that you had moments with. So it's a completely different. You know, like the guy who died in DC, I still remember, like, watching BET Music Awards, chilling, like, yo, I'm gonna be back. I was going, those were the time when I was going to America, like, every like twice a year, every summer kind of thing. So you take for granted, I'm gonna see you in July next year kind of thing, and then it's April and you're hearing, yo, boom, 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 this happened, and you're like, what? You know, so.
I think,
for
man, me,
I
like,
just try.
I haven't really told a lot of people this, but, like, I've never had someone like that close to me pass away up until last year. My actual cousin died in Canada, and it was an accident. It was a car accident.
Oh God!
For the first couple of days, like, I didn't believe it. Like, you just think, nah. Like, maybe they got the wrong person, or maybe, like, but long story short, you know, it was him, and he, like, but other people in the car, everybody passed away. Like, they got hit by a truck. Oh my God. What got to me the most was, this is somebody that moved to Canada. Ultimately for, like, a better life. He was just finished doing his master. Like, he was young. He was, like, just a little bit older than Dara. Just finished doing his masters. You know.
So he's younger than us.
Yeah, exactly. Ready to take on the world, and then this just happened. And my heart, like, went out to his mum, because that's my auntie. That's literally my mum's sister. And that's her only son. She's got 3 daughters. That's her only son, and she didn't take it very well. Like, even till today, she, in her mind, he's coming home. And it's like, how do you explain that to somebody that, no, this person has passed? So, death is inevitable. You know what I mean? None of us are into it. No one's immortal out here. It's literally going to happen to every single one of us. But I just feel like when it's tragic.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's you just because you're thinking of all the ways it could have been avoided. You're thinking about the most crazy thing, like why did your phone not charge and then maybe you missed your alarm and then you didn't have to go out. Like you're just thinking of the most random crazy scenarios. It's like you're trying to be flipping Flash in DC movie, trying to just control it. You know what I mean? Like literally, we're trying to control the outcome. Back to the Future, and it's just like
aspects of life that's just out of your control, and it's just a matter of knowing how to deal with those moments.
Yeah, I think.
Like, go on.
No. For me, I think the only thing you can do is just live your best life. And just be a good person. Like try the best to be a good person to your family, to your friends, even to strangers. And always put your best foot forward. Like that's all you can really do. Like, some people don't have faith. Some people do. Some are stronger than others. I have faith. I believe in God. I believe there's a higher power. I believe there's something bigger than us.
Absolutely.
But I also do believe in, the energy you put out into the world, kind of thing.
What you're gonna get
so it's like, so it's like just being always positive, appreciative. Thanking God, but living your life though.
It's not easy being positive. Sometimes being positive makes you feel even worse, or trying to be positive can make you feel even worse. So it's just finding that right balance, I suppose.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. This podcast might have been a bit emotional. I hope you can understand. I mean, today's Thursday, and it's just been one of those months.
This wasn't our original.
This was definitely not our original.
Definitely not our original.
Like we had banter lined up. We had things
so much lined
up. But when this happened,
we just had.
I was like, Tommy, yo, book the studio, man. Like shit. Like I just have to say some things. To be honest with you, I think this might be the last time I talk about the Kobe thing.
Okay.
To this degree.
Of course. Cool.
Obviously, we're talking like I chat with my friends, like, but it's positive. Like, oh yeah, you remember when Kobe did this, that. But I just want to remember him in that light. Like if someone's talking to me about it, I'm not going to engage.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to do this, and to be honest with you, we could really sit here for 3 hours and just talk about this stuff. But at a certain point, just like, you know what, enough is enough.
Yeah.
Most of people, anyone who really tunes into this, the people who I know tune into this already have their own process how they're dealing with this.
Yeah.
But it's good to talk about things like this,
Definitely.
and also, it's just like you need the rain to appreciate the sunshine.
Absolutely.
And what I'm trying to say is that, this is January. We're going to have so many episodes. They're going to be fun. They're going to be bants. And sometimes you need one of these just to talk about real shit that no one likes to talk about, mortality and stuff like that. I'm really struggling and trying to find something positive to end on, something funny. Is there anything you can think of right now? I mean, I thought of something that's kind of funny, but it's not funny because it's serious.
What?
Fucking Terry Crews. Fuck that guy, man. Yeah, let me say that. You don't know about what he did?
I know what happened.
Yeah, fuck
I
that
know
guy.
what he did.
My man compared himself to a hog. Nah, fuck off, mate. Fuck off.
He compared him. Wait, what are you talking about?
The Gabrielle Union thing.
Yeah, that he's basically saying
he shitted on her.
Yeah, I know.
But she backed him when he said he got violated by an old OAP. Like, stop it, mate. Do you know what I mean? Because he wants to keep his job.
So many thoughts on this. But
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, fuck that guy. Yeah, can we say that?
Like, you can say that.
I was just listening to something on my way here. All black women were backing him.
I know.
Man, like 50 Cent and 50 Cent. Me and my boys, we were mocking him. Yeah, saying you let some 70-year-old man violate you, and you're out here crying. So all these muscles you built were for nothing. People say, "Hey, you gotta be sensitive, this and that." Then the minute a black woman says something, you discredit her because you are so desperate to hold your job. No integrity. No integrity. Then do you hear what he said? He doubled down on it. He said, and I'm paraphrasing. He was like, just because she's a chicken and an egg, just because she's a chicken and gave me an egg, I'm a hog, doesn't mean I have to give her bacon.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Even though I can't even say it right.
So
that shit sounds weird.
Make is just because she defended me, I don't have to defend her.
He basically said he's an asshole. Because he's saying, I'm a hog. Like, he's saying it with his chest.
Okay.
He's a wild pig.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's not giving her bacon just because she gave him an egg. So it's that thing where it's like, what's that?
Yeah, she may have scratched my back, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Wow,
So I'm looking at this guy like, For me, he was always weird from my wife and kid days. I just thought, why is this guy flexing like this?
He was never on My Wife and Kids.
No, he was. He came on one or two episodes, yeah.
Oh,
you got to remember the one when Michael's trying, is it Michael? The dad's Michael,
yeah? Something like
when he's trying to go gym and he's doing the whole flexing thing and he was putting him through mad reps. And it was kind of funny, but it was weird. And then he was on Everybody Hates Chris.
And
I kind of liked him. It was kind of funny, the whole him being really cheap and shit. But then in recent years, I just look at this guy like, nah.
Why do you think that?
Black man, look at how you're coming across.
It can't just be to hold on to his job.
100% it is. You have to understand, Tommy, not everyone is, and that's a whole nother conversation, by the way.
Ooh, honey,
but not everyone is dialed into their blackness.
You think that's what
if
it is?
you know what I mean?
Or you
blackness or African. No, not everyone is.
Looking out for
I'm
himself
for real.
and his family.
No, bun that. Some of these people really do look at the Caucasian man, the white man, as their master.
Oh, wow.
They still have that mentality.
I
have to keep the white people happy. One thing about me, and again, for another podcast, one thing about me, even in the corporate real estate industry I work in, when I walk in a place, there's no mistaking I'm a black man.
We can see that.
they know over here, man.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm saying? You see the facial hair, you see the waves, you know what I'm saying? The broad shoulders, all the things, all the stereotypical things you want to associate with me, apart from the fact that I'm highly intelligent. Don't ever fucking get it twisted in your life. I'm a black man. Doesn't matter. I'd rather be broke, you know what I mean, than to be someone's bitch just because I want to impress them. I ain't doing that. No, for real. Like, I'm not saying it to be like a tough guy. It's not about being a tough guy. It's about integrity.
I totally understand. And
trust me. Like, even when I went to Hong Kong and I've been to these places and I deal with these clients, the reason my clients like me is because I am who I am. Like, that's what people don't get. Most of these people, especially these rich folk who have been around, they know when you're playing up to them. And I never play up to these guys. I never make these guys feel like, yes, of course, you're my client and I make you feel important and make you feel valued. But not beyond that. It doesn't go beyond that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? I am who I am. And that's actually how I get things done. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? I deal with... Anyway, listen. You know what I'm saying? I deal with people that are billionaires, multi-millionaires, and I'm not bending my back or my knee for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'd rather show you why we can work together and enlighten you on things that you are not exposed to. And that's actually what people who I deal with in real life appreciate about me. It's like, oh, this guy is thorough. Because the first thing they do, obviously, it's generalization, but a lot of people get intimidated. And once they realize they can have a conversation with you, and they actually do have things in common with you, it's like, oh shit, what was this prejudice I had before? And that's what you got to knock down.
Yeah.
But this guy wants to be a damn coon, wants to be fucking field nigga. Like,
Frank! Alright, guys.
Fuck that guy, yeah? Listen.
We will have to reconvene this conversation.
Listen, Happy New Year. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
Black Mamba. Rest in peace, Gigi.
Yeah.
I truly apologize. And someone say you don't need to apologize for this, but we naturally do. I apologize for not knowing the names of the other victims. I do know them, but I don't want to get the names wrong. I've read some articles about them. Lovely people. God rest their souls. Bless their families. You know, that's us, man. I hope you can take something away from this episode. Appreciate it's not being very cheerful, but there's no way, it was anyone who buys into this. I was so happy that you came in and you were like, this is what you want to talk about as well. Because you remember initially I was like coming with something funny to lighten up the mood, but you felt this, and you know you've got brothers, so you know what that's like with athletes and stuff like that. And even if it wasn't about that, but you know what I'm saying, like, before I keep waffling on, you know, my point is there's no way we could come in here 4 or 5 days after such a tragic moment and not touch on it. And I'd be lying to come in here and sit here and chat. There's so many things we could talk about, so many things that we had lined up, but you know, we were like, nah, you know what, we've got to touch on this. My thing is, I just hope this resonates with somebody, even if it's just one person. And my thing is, everyone every day, don't take life for granted. Take your time. Stupid things when you're crossing the road, bad habits. Are you the type of person who has your headphones on, you're looking at your phone when you're crossing the road, you're taking for granted that zebra crossing, the car's supposed to stop? Sometimes these drivers don't stop. Take your time. No, for real. It's those simple little things. Do not take them for granted. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, just be grateful, hug your family, your friends, let them know you love them, you care for them, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Don't let things like this be the reminder. But when they do happen, take the blessings from them and move on with your life. Absolutely. Peace.
All right. What can I say? Mamba out.